and welcome everyone. Allow me to start by introducing myself. I am Bernice Buttigieg, Chief Strategy Officer at FinanceMalta. Today, we gather to commemorate an occasion of immense significance, International Women's Day. This day serves as a global platform to celebrate the achievements of women, advocate for gender equality, and foster inclusive dialogue. I'm thrilled to have you all join us for this recorded webinar as we delve into the essence of International Women's Day and engage in a thought-provoking panel discussion. International Women's Day, observed annually on March 8th, is a testament to the ongoing struggle for gender equality. It originated from the labor and suffrage movements in the early 20th century and has since evolved into a powerful global movement. Today, it serves as a rallying cry for action, challenging societal norms and advocating for the rights and empowerment of women worldwide. Before we proceed, I'd like to extend a warm welcome and express gratitude to our esteemed moderator, Ms. Lamia MERZOUKI, Chief Operating Officer of Casablanca Finance City Authority, but also Vice Chair of the World Alliance of International Financial Centers, better known as the WAIFC, and Chair of the United Nations-led Financial Centers for Sustainable Network, UNDP-EPSI4S. Lamia is also President of the We4She Association, whose goal is to improve female representation at all levels of companies and to change the face of business in Africa. With her expertise in the field, I am sure she will bring invaluable insights to our discussion. We're truly fortunate to have her lead our conversation today. As the title suggests, our moderator and panelists hail from 5 jurisdictions across 3 continents, namely Africa, Asia, and Europe. In our daily jobs, we compete in attracting financial services business to our respective countries. However, today, we have teamed up in a cooperative spirit through our YFC membership to work on our common agenda of promoting gender equality and women leadership. If any one of you is wondering why we have no male presence on the panel, I would like to point out that this was definitely not done intentionally. Unfortunately, we have not managed to secure the opposite sex's participation, but we do hope to have the opportunity to do so in the near future. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our esteemed panelists, who I will now introduce. My colleague, Graziella Grech, is the Chief Operating Officer at FinanceMalta. Graziella has over 27 years of experience in the financial services industry, primarily in retail and business banking, investments and insurance, back office operations, complaints handling, and project management. Graziella holds a Master of Business Administration from the Henley Business School, University of Reading. Sophie Yu currently serves as the Head of International Affairs at Frankfurt Main Finance, Germany. Her main working focus includes enhancing the international status and global cooperation of the Frankfurt International Financial Center, researching the development of green finance in Europe and Germany, and the impact of Brexit on the German and European financial industry. She is a certified sustainable finance expert and also a certified project management professional. Alya Zarouni is Chief Operating Officer at the Dubai International Financial Center Authority. She is responsible for setting the strategic direction of the DIFC Authority's operations, client experience. Alya earned both her BSc in Computer Science and MBA from the American University of Sharjah. She has an LLM in International Business Law from the University of Paris and is a graduate of the prestigious Mohammed bin Rashid Center for Leadership Development. Last but not least, Ibekwe He's Chief Executive Officer at EnterpriseNGR in Nigeria. Obi has over 3 decades of work experience spanning legal practice, management consulting, banking, and advocacy. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in International Relations from Tufts University, Massachusetts, and a law degree from the University of Lagos, Nigeria. Obi holds an MBA degree from Ross School of Business, University of Michigan. As you can see, each panelist brings a wealth of experience and a unique perspective to our dialogue. We're incredibly grateful for their participation and look forward to their contributions. And with that, let's dive into our discussion.
Morning, everyone. I'm delighted to moderate this panel discussion on embracing diversity in leadership. I'd also like to express my thanks to FinanceMalta for extending this invitation. And to echo what Bernice mentioned, today we are in a time where an abundance of research and case studies highlight the benefits that gender diversity brings to organizations. I mean, it's not just about fairness and equality. It goes beyond that. It's about boosting performance, encouraging innovation, and approaching problem solving from diverse and enriched perspectives. And here I'd like to quote Christine Lagarde, who recently said, "We have made progress on gender equality over the past decades, but less bad is not good enough. Now more than ever, we must empower women wherever we can." And within the WAIFC, the World Alliance of International Financial Centers, we want to support financial centers to become leading examples in terms of gender diversity. And by connecting and partnering globally, we can speed up our efforts to build an inclusive and more sustainable future. And this is why we signed last October in New York the Gender Pledge that reflects the aspiration of our members, focusing on increasing the presence of women at all levels in our ecosystems. And we plan to support this with a yearly action plan, among other steps, to keep moving forward. So today we will be hearing from diverse perspectives from women leaders across continents. And to kick things off, I'd like to focus first on the corporate world and hear from each of our panelists about their experiences navigating their own landscape. So let's start with Graziella Grech, Chief Operating Officer in FinanceMalta. Graziella, what strategies do you employ to empower other women in leadership roles, and how do you navigate the cultural differences in this global context?
Well, thank you so much, Lamia. As an advocate for empowering women in leadership, I prioritize mentorship, rewarding accomplishments, and emphasizing the necessity of work-life balance, particularly for mothers. I actively participate in mentorship programs, providing guidance and support to ambitious female leaders, while acknowledging the unique hurdles women may experience when managing professional and personal duties. By sharing my thoughts and experiences, I hope to help people confidently manage their career paths while maintaining a healthy work-life balance. In addition, I make it a point to publicly highlight and applaud the successes of women in leadership positions, especially those who effectively balance their jobs and parenthood. By highlighting their accomplishments, we encourage others and challenge prejudices about women's leadership qualities, emphasizing that becoming a mother should not limit one's professional development. Through these efforts, I hope to foster a supportive climate in which women feel empowered to pursue and achieve in leadership roles, regardless of their family responsibilities.
Thank you, Graziella. Let's move on to Alya Zarouni. You are the COO of the DIFC Authority. Could you tell us what are some of the challenges you have faced as a woman leader in your region, and how have you overcome them?
Muted. Thank you, Lamia. So I think working with DIFC, I had the privilege of meeting women and aspiring leaders from all around the world. And whenever we talk about those challenges, it's really, I think we all face the same challenges across all continents. All of us face unconscious bias, stereotypes, the underrepresentation of women in senior leadership, and also the fact that In most of the cases, women get promoted after proving themselves over and over again, while men get promoted for potential. So I think it's the same challenges, but for me, really, as I'm not a challenges person or a barriers person, so I don't think about it, and I think not thinking about it make them so small. So I try to always focus more on my self-development. If I am learning and developing myself, focus on the delivery and with impact. So I try to focus on my work. If I'm really bringing impact to the organization, this is what really matters for me and keeps me motivated. And I think the promotion or financial gain will come one way or another. Maybe not as soon as we expect, but it should come and will be noticed.
Thank you, Alya. And in what ways do you promote diversity and inclusion within your organization and community?
Now, as DIFC, this has been part of our DNA since inception in 2004. And that's obviously written by code in our employment law. The DIFC authority itself has more than 50% representation of women. I actually struggle to find men to hire, really. I think we need to look at the other side of diversity as well. As a population in DIFC, I think 1/3 of our client population is women, and we try to do different initiatives to support young females. So in 2019, our Innovation Hub launched the Accelerate Her program, which is a program focused at developing young female executives in fintech and innovation to play a pivotal role in the industry, and that is through one-to-one mentorship. So we connect them with senior leaders within the banks or financial institutions in the center, through networking, which I think is something that all women really need, and also training and development. We managed in the past 5 years to graduate close to 120 graduates. And we also try to focus on the training and development of women. So we've given a good number of higher education sponsorships for women within the organization.
Thank you, Alya. This mentorship piece is really crucial. Graziella talked about it. You have talked about it. So let's now turn to Obi, Ibekwe, CEO of EnterpriseNGR. Obi, can you share an example of a time when you had to advocate for gender equality or challenge gender stereotypes in your workplace?
Thank you, Lamia. I've been in HR for quite a number of years and have seen quite I've been through a number of challenges and situations that I felt were not supportive of women, to put it nicely. And I will just share one example with you. This was in an organization, one of the banks, Nigerian banks I worked in. And in our law, in our labor law, women, it's encoded there that women are entitled to 12 weeks of maternity leave. So organizations have no choice but to adhere to that. But the challenge was that once women have gone on this maternity leave and they come back, and there's a promotion cycle going on, the tendency was to penalize the women for the period that they were away. And this was a situation where you had two criteria that qualified you for promotion. One was your performance rating, and the other was your tenure on that particular grade. And where they got the women was they would then subtract the 3 months they were away on their maternity leave, and a woman who would otherwise have qualified then didn't, because of that practice, which was not fair at all. So we had to fight, to change that policy and ensure equality. That, if you go on leave, you go on leave, provided it was an approved leave, you shouldn't be penalized come promotion. So that was one of the ways that we supported women. And it's really all about policy, because when you think about it, the workplace, the men have dominated the workplace for decades, and the work arrangements in their favor and not very supportive of women. And we need to, it's through policy and understanding some of the challenges that women go through in the workplace that we begin to change the work environment to be more supportive of women. I am particularly happy about remote working that COVID has brought about, because it's giving women an opportunity, to balance the two sides of their life, work and, and home. So, and I find within my organization, for instance, that is something that we practice with gusto. We work 2 days a week out of the office and the rest from home. And I've found that it has not only improved productivity, but the morale of our staff, especially the women staff. So I'll stop there for now.
Thank you, Obi. Thank you for your insights. I mean, I completely agree. Working from home and these maternity leaves and how we deal with that right after. I mean, those are crucial topics that we need to really, reflect on and implement in the right sense. So. Absolutely. Sophie Li Yu, you are the head of international relations in Frankfurt Main Finance. I'd like to ask you, how do cultural differences influence your approach to leadership, and how do you navigate these differences?
Thank you very much for the question. And of course, I think I'm maybe one of the most appropriate person to answer this question, because I have leadership experiences both in China and in Germany. So these are two countries with very different corporate landscape and culture. In China, of course, or in general, in many East Asian countries, the corporate landscape is still, relatively speaking, hierarchy oriented, much more hierarchy oriented and a little bit conservative. So of course, for people, for example, if you wanted to put forward an idea in a meeting, sometimes you might have to use some, for example, indirect language to gauge the true intention and the perception of your senior leaders or your colleagues or team members. Otherwise, it might be interpreted as unpolite or incompetence to lead a team. However, in Germany, the corporate landscape is totally different. Here, if you're not able to straightforwardly present your idea, or if you're not able to take initiative to say what you want, it will be interpreted as incompetence. So this observation also requires me to shift my approach of communication and leadership. So from conservative, expressive to openly assertive. So no matter whether I talk with my senior leadership or talk with my team member, I needed to shift my approach of leadership or communication. So after observing this culture difference, how do I navigate them? I think the number one, as I said, the first step is very carefully observe. When you go to a new environment, especially when you go to a new country, you need to very carefully observe what's the difference here. I maybe should not use the old way or methodology that I used before to apply it directly to the new environment. It doesn't work anymore. Number two is accommodative communication. As I said just now, you need to adapt your communication style to fit to the new cultural environment. And number three is that also many other panelists also already mentioned that it will be great if you can have find a role model in your organization who shared the similar experiences to see how did she handle the situation. If she can offer you a lot of practical experiences and the strategies, that will be very helpful. If it doesn't work, of course, you can also, for example, me, I personally maybe also in my spare time to read some books written by female leaders. One of the best examples would be, for example, Indra Noomi, who is the former CEO of PepsiCo. She had a lot of experiences in leading how to lead global cooperation while balancing her own diverse cultural identity. I think this can be all very practical tips for the people who have to navigate, to be a leader while navigating in different cultural landscapes.
Thank you, Sophie. Actually, you've already touched on the second topic or the second round of discussion, which is more on the personal experience, personal growth. You've talked about assertiveness, and I think it's a great transition. So let's now move on to the second round of discussion, which is about, I mean, more, personal questions I'd like to ask. I'd like you to tell us about your own experiences in leadership. Personal journeys can be incredibly insightful, shaping our perspectives and approaches. And I believe we can learn a great deal from hearing your stories, ladies. So, Graziella, can you share a story of a successful collaboration or partnership that has contributed to your leadership journey?
Sure. Collaborating with WaterAid Ghana on a massive project way back in 2013 was a life-changing experience for me that significantly impacted my leadership journey. The lack of education, sanitation, and hygiene I witnessed when visiting several rural villages deeply touched my heart. I still feel it today now that I'm talking. I firmly believed that this project could help commuters, especially women, improve their living standards. Women have to use open fields or outdoor spaces as makeshift toilets, which can leave them vulnerable to sexual harassment, assault, and evil animal attacks. Girls end up missing school when they have their menstruation due to a lack of toilets and privacy. So initiatives such as hand washing stations, boreholes, access to safe toilets, and sanitation education programs were implemented in close collaboration with local communities. And notwithstanding obstacles that we faced, the concrete effects observed on individuals' livelihoods served to fortify the efficacy of collaborative efforts. And this experience escalated my empathy capacity and underscored the criticality of community engagement, collaboration, and resilience in fostering constructive transformation. And this transformation can truly make a significant difference in people's lives globally.
So true. Thank you, Graziella. Alya, can you share a pivotal moment in your career that helped shape your leadership journey? And how do you see the role of women leaders evolving in the future?
Now, a pivotal moment, maybe this, I have a short story about it, really. It happened to me when I was I would say, in a growth stage. So it was the time when I moved from an employee with no team to an employee with a team of 20 employees. It was really a big shift for me. And it was really one of the worst departments in the organization in terms of performance. So it seems like something that nobody wanted really to handle. And I took it wholeheartedly because I was looking for the challenge. And I think I was able to do it really to fix the department, to make it one of the best performing departments. And that required me to work with a lot of my colleagues in other departments who were men that have more experience. And I think the fact that maybe I had to request for changes felt a bit intimidating for some of them, or a bit offensive, because you come and you tell them what things should be done. So I was stuck in this vicious loop of emails and communications between me and those colleagues, with them disagreeing, me trying to convince. And then one of the consultants, who happened to be a man as well, came to me, and he noticed or observed what was happening. So he told me, Alya, you're doing a great job, but sometimes you need to lose battles to win the war. And that really made a huge shift in my mindset and the way I approach things. So I was wasting so much energy and time on those small things, while there are more important things that matter to me. I don't have to be right all the time or prove that I am right. And I think this has changed me from a piece of wood to more like water, fluid. So I'm able to really navigate through these things and then focus on what really matters and put my energy where it should be. Now, in terms of I think the future for women, we've seen some progress, as you said, and you quoted Christine Lagarde on this. So I think currently women represent 31% of C-suite and finance sector, which is, I think, is a good progress, but a lot more needs to be done. We obviously see much less in boards. I'm sure we will see more progress in senior management, but when it comes to boards, we're seeing more governments trying to impose quotas. Quotas are not the best thing, but it looks like it's the only way to get things changed from the top. And I think things will not change if we don't change the decision-making engine. But I'm positive, and I'm sure the future will be great for all women.
Thank you, Alya, and I completely agree. I mean, you know, this change needs to come from the commitment of the CEOs themselves. So we still need, you know, all, I mean, men, because they still have the power, right? So now turning to Obi, I'd like to ask you the same question. Obi, can you share a pivotal moment and in your career, and what are some challenges that you have faced as a woman leader in Africa, and how have you overcome them?
Thank you, Lamia. I hope you guys can hear me.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So thank you very much for that question. I've always believed as a woman that I needed to take a long-term view of my career. So I've actually had three pivotal moments in my career journey that culminated in my being able to transcend to the leadership rank. The first start was early in my career. I was trained as a lawyer and practiced as an attorney. 2 years into practice with a law firm, I decided very quickly that that wasn't for me. It was not dynamic enough, certainly in my environment in Nigeria. So, and it was around that time that the Nigerian, the banking industry was growing. New banks were coming, were being established in Nigeria. So I decided that I would try this new terrain of finance and banking. So I moved into, I applied and got a job in the legal department of a bank because, of course, my background was in law. And again, 2 years in the legal department, I decided it was very clear to me that the highest I could go would be to become maybe the company secretary or legal advisor of the bank. And that was not where I wanted to stop. So I applied to management to move into mainstream banking. And you can imagine a woman coming up with that. They didn't have a program like that. And it was quite bold of me to make that request. And but I insisted that that was what I wanted. And they tried to make it as difficult as possible for me because they said, okay, if that is the case, then you would forgo your promotion, which I was due for. And then you would have to go train and go around all the departments. And that would take like a year before we can then assess you and decide that, you know, whether you're eligible to join the mainstream bank, any of the other, you know, banking departments. I said, fine, that I would do it. You know, it was risky, it was crazy, but that was what I wanted to do. And I did that training. And at the end of the training, I joined the corporate banking department of the bank. And honestly, that was what being able to get that experience of and of course the legal experience you know, helped me in my leadership journey, because all of that came into consideration when I was being considered, you know, for leadership roles. And then after that move, I'd now been established in mainstream banking. I was actually one of the first 3 branch managers appointed, female branch managers appointed in my bank. I now decided again to go back to school to get my MBA, because, you know, my degree was in law, and I felt that if I, you know, I was aspiring to executive management position, that I needed, you know, an MBA degree to balance out my qualifications. So I And that was when I decided to go to the Ross School of Business in Michigan. And I had to resign from my job and invested all my money and 2 years of my life in that project. Not sure of what I would come back to. And God would have it, when I came back, that move was probably one of the riskiest I'd taken, because all my savings and everything had gone into that project. But I believe that at the end of the day, it turned out to be the most advantageous, because when I came back, it broadened the opportunities that were open to me. That was when I was able to work with Accenture as a member of the senior management team, and I was in the financial services group. So it opened up the financial services industry, to me. And if you've worked in management consulting, you know that that is the best way to get in-depth experience in any industry. And thereafter, I moved back into banking, and with that background, of course, I was able to achieve an executive director position in one of the biggest banks in Nigeria, so the lesson for me in that is that as a woman, you need to know what you want, and then you need to be ready to make the sacrifices to prepare yourself and to take the risks necessary, to achieve it. As a woman, you have to be much better than your colleagues, and you really have to have that domain expertise and be assertive and bold, and take those steps just like men do. They tend to be more assertive. They tend to sell themselves better, and I think that as women, those are some of the characteristics that we need to imbibe, to succeed in the workplace. Thank you, Lamia. And also, with respect to the other question about challenges as a woman leader, the main challenge for me in Nigeria is that because of the proverbial difficulty in breaking the glass ceiling, of course, women representation, leadership, just like everywhere else in the world, is not what we would like to see, more so in Nigeria. So you always find yourself in the minority in the leadership teams that I've served on. For instance, here at EnterpriseNGR, even though we're very we promote gender diversity and all of that, but the way our membership is, organizations, financial services organizations, are our members, and therefore their CEOs are the ones that serve on our board. And so it really amplifies the problem, because most of the CEOs are men. And when I came on board as managing director of EnterpriseNGR, I was the only female on the board. But I must say it for the board, even though the board was male dominated, there was awareness that we needed to change that, and I had great support in broadening the board composition. And I'm happy to say that late last year, we brought on board another female as an independent non-executive director, and we're hopeful of bringing some more this year. So is that being a minority because the situation is what it is, and that is all the more reason why we should continue to push and amplify these issues of gender equality. Thank you, Lamia.
Thank you. Thank you, Obi. Thank you for sharing this experience. I think it's really inspirational and gave us a lot of energy. Clearly, I mean, the financial services ecosystem is a male-dominated industry, but at least we should amplify each other as women.
Exactly.
And it's really, really important. I launched an association, a network called We4She, and we created a commission called Sorority Commission or Sisterhood Commission to demonstrate that women can support
each other.
Yeah. It's really important. So now let's move on to Sophie. Sophie, how do you see the role of women leaders evolving in the future? quite the same question of Alya. And what changes do you hope to see in terms of gender equality and representation in the future?
Well, of course, I definitely hope to see that women can gain more important positions in different industry, in different organizations. This question actually reminds me of a concept or a phenomenon I saw from a book. It says that actually since 1970s, the proportion that women go back to professional career and the women have the possibility to get higher education has already gained success significantly. However, if you see in universities that the number of women who get the tenure positions, or you go to law firms, consulting companies, that women can become partner or top positions, did not keep space. So why is that? This is a very, very thought-provoking phenomenon. So, of course, in the future, I wanted to see more women to get more important positions. But why is that? What limits us here? Even though we already get much more higher education and more women already get back to the conclusion in the book gave is that, relatively speaking, the time women can invest into developing career is still, relatively speaking, much less than men. This is reason number one. Reason number two is of course, both men and women will leave career one day, sooner or later, at different time points of your life. However, the rate that women leave career at a more crucial timing point is higher than men. What is the most important timing period? Maybe around 30 to 35, where women have to go back to family for several years because they have to take more care of the family matters. So I think bearing these two things in mind, I hope that, of course, as Obi also already presented just now, we already see a lot of positive signal, positive changes in our corporate landscape. For example, remote working is possible now, flexible working hours is possible now. But I maybe wanted to also observe this from another perspective, that except asking women to be self-disciplined, to be confident to yourself, to be motivated enough to get what you want. Don't forget, I think career aspiration can never ever achieve without the support of society and the government. If you in the future really become an impactful leader, I will still urge the government more to offer more favorable conditions for female to go back to work. For example, you cannot easily ask for women to be self-disciplined and highly motivated every day when she has 1 or 2 kids stay at home without getting placed in the kindergarten, because they don't have enough teacher, or because we don't have enough human resources to do all of this. So I would say that I will advocate more social report or government report for females to go back to career. And in the future, I think female will form our own type of leadership in the overall career. Not only one type of male-dominated leadership should be welcomed or should be learned from. Female also have its own systematic way of leadership. It can also be exceptional.
Thank you, Sophie, and you're completely right. I mean, we still have a long way to go. It's a long process. We need to mobilize the government, the civil society, and so on. And this is what we do also in the network, in our network. We are mobilizing all the stakeholders. And I think it's, with this holistic approach that we could really move things further. So now, the last round, I'm conscious of time. So I suggest that each of you takes 3 minutes maximum to give us some tips and advices for young women inspiring to leadership roles. I mean, How can we empower the next generation of female leaders? Perhaps you could share some key pieces of advice you wish you would have known when starting your leadership journey. So, Graziella, over to you.
So 3 tips. Number 1, first and foremost, the young woman should believe in herself and her skills and see the setbacks as opportunities for growth. The second one, build a strong network of mentors and allies to help her along the paths. And third, prioritize ongoing skill development, emphasizing technical expertise and leadership abilities. Obviously, today several companies are implementing supportive policies and fostering a culture of work-life balance that can help attract and retain top female talent, whilst empowering women to pursue careers and leadership positions. She should remember as a young woman that while the journey may be difficult, her tenacity and sincerity will pave the way for future generations of women in leadership.
Thank you, Graziella. Alya, what about you? I mean, same question.
Well, I would tell them, don't listen to the voices that are in your heads. Don't make those barriers so big, make them small. Take ownership of your career journey and do better than men do, as Obi has said. And then lastly, don't be embarrassed to ask for help. You will need a support system as you grow to stay balanced mentally, physically, and emotionally. So that's my advice.
Thank you so much, Alya. Thank you. Very inspiring, really. Obi, what about you? I mean, the path to leadership can be different for everyone. So what about you? You are on mute. Your mic is on mute.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. 3 tips that I have for young women. One is know what you want and be confident and go after it. You will have to work hard as a woman. Embrace it. The second one is for you to be, how do I put it? You're a woman. You don't have to be a man. And as a woman, there are certain traits that you have as a woman. As a woman, we tend to be empathetic. We tend to, like to collaborate. Let all of those define you as a leader and distinguish you. Embrace being a woman whilst being competitive. Use that, to compete, because there are unique traits to you that you can leverage to distinguish yourself and make headway in the corporate space. The final one is that, and Lamia, as you have said, and I support that a whole lot, and I found that it helped me, especially as we women, we tend to be self-effacing. We tend to be too modest. Learn to toot your own horn. Speak about your accomplishments. Affirm yourself while you network with your other females, because we need to support each other. We need to learn from each other. We need to band together, because there's certain things in my part of the world as a woman. We're all limited in terms of networking because of the societal norms and cultures that we have to deal with. And you need to find creative ways to still network, because there's a skill that you need as a business leader with other women, that you create situations that you're comfortable with, and you can also be effective. Thank you, Lamia.
Thank you, Obi. So inspiring again. So now, Sophie, what about you?
My suggestion would be that when you need to make decision, future-oriented, when you need to take action rooted in the present, it means that when you're planning something or you need to make a decision, this is something carried out in your brain. And the other part is action and execution. This part needs to be done in the tangible world. So when you're planning something, you don't need to care about what you're having now. You don't need to care about the present. You first ask yourself, what do you really want in the future? So it needs to be completely future anchored. If your answer is yes, I would like to be a leader in the future, which may be not the answer of every woman, then this is decided. Now you move to the second part, execution and action part. For this part, I would say, please don't care about how small the step you take every single day. Don't think about, oh, this is too tiny step. It will not be so impactful. It will not really help me to achieve the final goal. No, no matter how small or big it is, every step counts. So believe in the power of incremental progress. So I always believe that every single step, no matter how small it is, as long as it is perfectly done, then it can be as impactful as a huge leap. So in summary, when you're planning something and make a decision, only future oriented. And when you come to every single day's life, please don't care about you just make a tiny progress today. It will definitely be impactful and help you for your final target in the future.
Thank you so much, Sophie. So we have heard about mentorship, we've heard about building a strong network, a strong support system, but we also heard about personal growth. I mean, assertiveness, building confidence. So for me, this situation, this difficult situation gives us an opportunity, and it's a gift to be able to work on ourselves. And for me, the most important tool we have is, and the most powerful tool that we have is our awareness. And this difficult situation is really giving us the opportunity to work on our own awareness. And it's about, personal growth, but also spiritual growth. So thank you so much, ladies, for your valuable insights. I hope you enjoyed the discussions as much as I did. And I leave the floor now to Bernice for the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Lamia. It was a really interesting discussion. I really enjoyed it, and I hope our listeners will enjoy it as well. It was very inspiring, and I hope we did manage to inspire some further women to climb up the ladder slowly, but I'm sure that if they'll take your words of wisdom and advice, they will get to where they would like to achieve. So my final conclusion, as we embark on this journey together, let us reflect on the progress we've made, acknowledge the obstacles that remain, and reaffirm our commitment to building a more equitable and inclusive world for all. Once again, thank you to the moderator, Lamia, and panelists, Graziella, Sophie, Alya, and Obi, for being part of this important conversation. Thank you for following this webinar, and we invite you to stay tuned on Finance Malta's as well as WAIFC's social media channels for future initiatives. Thank you.